Howdy, Stefan. Evangelical One here. Um, I wanted to take some time to respond to your video when you were addressing a question that somebody had sent you by email, I think. At any rate, you said that a from the perspective of philosophy, the important question is: are the claims being made true or false? It doesn't matter what and any other considerations really aren't important, like how it impacts your behavior. Um, but is it true? And you say that atheism is true, um, that religion is superstition, it's false, it is irrational. Um, well, I really have to take objection with this because I disagree with it. Now, you say that we shouldn't just make assertions; we should offer proofs. And I noticed in your video you did not offer any proofs of atheism. Now that's okay because you alluded to other videos that you made in the past. Um, so it's not really an assertion on your part. Well, the only video that I have seen where you are offering evidence for atheism or philosophical arguments um, is you gave kind of an arbitrary definition of reality as being material. You define reality as necessarily material, and then you argued from there. But that's commits the petitio principii fallacy, begging the question. Uh, the question to be answered is material, or is reality merely material? Um, you can't assume that reality is material and then prove and then argue from there that there's no immaterial realities such as God. And I believe I responded to that video with similar remarks. So the one argument of yours that I'm aware of is that, yeah, and I think you brought this up in the debate that you mentioned with the it was an agnostic and um, I don't remember. There was a third person, probably a theist, but I don't recall at the moment. It's been a while since I've seen that, but at any rate, so that is a fallacious argument. It begs the question, which is a fallacy. Um, so on the other side of the coin, though, uh, I do have various arguments that I could give for the existence of God. Uh, you may have heard them before. There's the teleological argument, the cosmological argument, the ontological argument, and there are others besides those. But just very briefly, uh, the ontological argument, the idea of God is a conceivable. It's conceivable to whether God exists or not. We can understand what is meant by the term. Um, if you say God does not exist, then you're presupposing uh, that the idea you have some concept that you're denying. You're saying this concept is not real. It's just something that people talk about. An imaginary friend, as you say. So we can understand the concept of God, and God is defined normally as the supreme being. Well, a being has supreme being if the being has to exist. Uh, you, if you're familiar with modal logic, there are impossible beings. There really aren't, because they're impossible. Uh, Impossible beings, though, would exist in no logically possible world. Contingent beings or possible beings exist in at least one logically possible world, and necessary beings exist in all logically possible worlds. So, if there is a being that has supreme being, it's going to be a necessary being. So the idea is coherent. There's no contradiction in supposing that there might be a necessary being, i.e. God. God is possible. He exists in at least one logically possible world. But if he is a necessary being, then by definition he will exist in all logically possible worlds, including the actual world, so God exists. In other words, God as a necessary being, to say that a necessary being does not exist is self-contradictory. Therefore, God does exist. That's the ontological argument, one way to phrase it. The teleological argument, we see various designs in the world. On the Earth, for example, there's an atmosphere. Other planets in our solar system uh, don't have the robust atmosphere that the Earth does, so it keeps oxygen in so we can breathe. We need oxygen, and we just happen to live in an environment which is oxygen rich. The ozone layer keeps out harmful UV rays, not 100%, but it does help. It keeps us from being destroyed by asteroids crashing into the Earth. It burns them up. So this atmosphere that just happens to be around the Earth, but not the other planets, at least in our solar system, um, is one important thing. Plants take in carbon dioxide, give out oxygen. Our lungs take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. Um, Neither can exist, it seems, without the other. Um, there's so many different things that are just right. More precise, we have the strength of gravity. If gravity were a little bit stronger, the universe could not expand, and no life could develop because there wouldn't be anything other than just the Big Bang singularity. If it were a little bit weaker, it would expand too quickly, and matter wouldn't form into planets where life can develop. So many different things that are designed to be just right so that human beings can exist and flourish. Well, that seems like it is kind of uncanny that the deck has been stacked, so to speak. Um, so probably things would not be this finely tuned if there were not a God to do the fine tuning. So probably there is a divine fine tuner. The cosmological argument, um, the universe is contingent. Things within the universe are contingent. Therefore, they require something outside of themselves. For example, I myself, my being is contingent on that of my parents. If my parents didn't exist, I wouldn't exist. They're contingent upon their parents, etc. You get back to the um, first humans, uh, mitochondrial Eve, um, and her mate. I forget what he's called, but uh, they're contingent upon the missing link, and so on and so forth, back to the Big Bang. Well, uh, you can't go back forever in a chain of contingent C's. So there has to be a first being which isn't contingent upon a previous being. Therefore, that being will be a necessary being, and this all men call God. So there's three arguments. There's others that could be given. Uh, they're all valid, I believe. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I spent a lot of time looking at them, thinking about them. But you're free to disagree if you follow the rules of pointing out logical non sequiturs. Um, the idea that you put forward is pretty standard. of looking at the arguments, seeing where the arguments go wrong. I don't think they do, so they're conclusive. But your argument does clearly commit the fallacy of begging the question. So it is rational to believe in God. It's irrational to disbelieve or to be atheistic. Um, yeah, so uh, there's just some things really quickly um, that I had to object to. Um, and there's a lot more that I could have objected to in your video. Excuse me, but I think this is enough to get us started. So, just if you wanted to have kind of a summary of everything I just said, to start there. Uh, your argument, there may be others which I'd be willing to hear if you have them, but the one argument that I have heard is fallacious because it is begging the question and the assuming what you have to prove. So that's the first point. Your argument begs the question, so it's logically fallacious. And the second point of summary is there's various arguments that argue for the existence of God. One of them is the cosmological argument, which says that because the universe is contingent, it depends upon something else outside of itself for its being. That follows from the definition of what it means to be contingent. So the universe is contingent. That's step one of the argument. Step two, because it is contingent, it depends upon something else outside of itself for its existence. That's step two. Three, the conclusion that something else is the supernatural, which is beyond the universe, and the supernatural creator of the universe is God. That's what we mean by the term God. He is the creator. He is the ground of our being. Uh, he's the uncaused first cause, however you want to put it. But we are contingent, so we depend upon a necessary being, and that necessary being is God. So that's the second point. The universe is contingent, so it depends upon God. Therefore, God must exist. And yeah, so I'd like to kind of flesh this out. I went quickly. I thought I only had 10 minutes, but I guess I actually have more than 15 minutes. Not sure how much more than 15, but more than 15. But I kind of rushed through it because I was trying to get everything in 10 minutes. So sorry about that. But yeah, point one, your argument begs the question. Point two, we're contingent, so we depend upon a necessary being who is God. And there's other arguments besides the contingency argument. Besides the cosmological argument, there's other arguments as well, which could be given for the existence of God. All right. Yeah. So I guess that's everything for now. I do hope you approve this and also respond to it. Um, and again, we can go into more detail on those two arguments. Cosmological argument I'm offering, your materialism argument, and if you want to talk about other arguments as well that I did or did not mention, or that you have or have not posited in the past, of which I'm unaware, I'm open to that as well. Thanks for watching, and Evangelical One signing off. Happy New Year. Shalom out.